Good morning, first grade. Today is Monday, March 30th, and before we get started reading, I have a couple shout outs for some friends who have been working super hard. My first shout outs are for Layla and Ellis because they got started and finished with their math test on Pearson. So good job, my friends, getting done with that math test. And then the next people, there's a lot here, have been sending me work and sending me videos and sending me pictures, and I'm loving it, my friends. So thank you to Layla, Elena, Brooke, Arlandria, Ariana, and Carter for sending me pictures of your work and videos of what you guys have been doing and predictions from the stories. So thank you guys for working hard. Keep up the good work. Alrighty, and then today we're going to read chapters 13 and 14 of Amelia Bedelia. Chapter 13 is called So Who Needs Fireworks? Where we last left off was Amelia Bedelia was in the parade and she made all the dogs go crazy, and then it was kind of a mess, remember? And then she got into the convertible with Wild Bill, and then they accidentally backed over her bike. She was feeling kind of sad. So we're gonna see what happens with the rest of the parade, okay? If you ever wondered what utter chaos and confusion, mass mayhem, and perfect pandemonium would look like, well, it was this. Barking dogs darted back and forth. Kids on bikes swerved around one another and around pets of all shapes and sizes. The crowd clapped and cheered. Cars honked their horns. The policeman blew his whistle, all, you might say, in the spirit of individuality. The mayor managed to make his way to the grandstand. This was where, on every special occasion, he had given a speech to his calm, quiet, peaceful town. Diana bounded up the stairs onto the grandstand. "Excuse me, Mr. Mayor," she called out as she rushed to the microphone. She blew her whistle with all her might, but mysteriously, there was no sound. All of a sudden, every dog in town froze. Their ears went straight up, and they all turned to look at her. Then they put their tails between their legs, and every single one of them slowly slunk back to its owner. The car horns stopped honking. The guinea pigs and rabbits and parrots stopped chattering. The kids on their bikes settled down. Everyone was quiet except for the policeman. He kept blowing his whistle over and over and over again until the mayor tapped on the microphone, then said, "Officer O'Brien, shh." At last, a perfect silence descended upon the entire town. Everyone moved closer to the grandstand to hear what the mayor had to say. The mayor cleared his throat. "I'm not sure what happened here today," he said, "but it looks like one person is responsible. Would Amelia Bedelia please come up here?" When Amelia Bedelia heard the mayor say her name, she wanted to climb into the glove compartment and curl up into a little ball. But she didn't. Wild Bill opened the car door for her and walked beside her to the grandstand. "If it's any consolation," he whispered gruffly as they walked along, "I think you make one mean lemon tart, little lady." "I didn't mean to make it mean," said Amelia Bedelia. "I made it to apologize." "Apology accepted," said Wild Bill. Amelia Bedelia wasn't sure what to do. Her tarts had caused this. She was to blame. What if the mayor made her pay to clean up the mess? Because there certainly was a big mess. And then she would never have enough money to get a new bike, and now she couldn't even jump on her old bike to escape. Her bike, her first sweet, wonderful, one and only bike, was flatter than a chocolate brownie pancake. She was too tired to escape anyway. Besides, it's tough to blend in with a giant lemon stuck on your head. Her parents met her at the steps up to the grandstand. Her dad gave her a thumbs up. Her mom took off her big lemon helmet. Amelia Bedelia trudged up the stairs to meet the mayor and her doom. The mayor shook her parents' hands. Then he brought Amelia Bedelia forward to stand next to him at the microphone. "I was born and raised here," he said. "So I can safely say that this town has seen more excitement in the past 15 minutes than it has in the past 50 years. As your mayor, I want to say that this is a good thing. When it comes to excitement, Amelia Bedelia means business." People in the crowd began to nod their heads in agreement. Amelia Bedelia could hear kids from school screaming and hollering and whistling. She could see Suzanne smiling, and Joy and Holly and Clay laughing and smiling together. Everyone knew that they would talk about this day for years to come. Then Wild Bill stepped forward to the microphone, his hat in his hand. "Mr. Mayor, everyone in town knows that I've had many differences with this little lady. However, I've come to admire her spirit. She does things in her own way. If something goes wrong, she bounces back and tries again. As far as I'm concerned, no one captures the spirit of individuality better than Amelia Bedelia. I declare her to be the winner of the bicycle contest." As the crowd cheered, Wild Bill bent down to say to her, "I believe you could use a new bike. Am I right?" Amelia Bedelia nodded and smiled and waved to the crowd. As the clapping died down, Wild Bill reached into his hat and pulled out the lemon tart Amelia Bedelia had tossed in. And best of all, he said, everyone in town should know that Amelia Bedelia makes one tasty lemon tart. Wild Bill popped the tart into his mouth and wolfed it down in one bite. The crowd roared its approval again. Amelia Bedelia looked over at her mom and dad and could only mouth the word thanks because of all the cheering. Alrighty, my friends, chapter 14 says, the bike wheel of fate turns. On her first day back at school, Amelia Bedelia proudly locked her new bike to the bike rack. It was the same exact model as Suzanne's bike, but it was ruby red instead of emerald green. Amelia Bedelia loved it. Suzanne rode up to the bike rack, but something was different. She wasn't smiling the way she had been after the parade. Then Amelia Bedelia got a good look at her bike. It was a wreck. It was in worse shape than Amelia Bedelia's old bike after it had been run over by the convertible. Suzanne parked right next to Amelia Bedelia. What happened, Susie? Asked Amelia Bedelia. I left my bike in my driveway, she said. My mom didn't see it when she went to work and she drove right over it. Her car got dinged up too. I've never seen her so mad. She was jumping up and down and dancing around in the driveway. Amelia Bedelia tried not to laugh. It's not funny, said Suzanne. My mom told me I'm going to have to help pay for the damages. She said she would meet me halfway, though. I've been there, said Amelia Bedelia, and I can tell you all about getting a job. Hey, I need someone to deliver my tarts. I'll lend you my bike and pay you. Suzanne smiled. At first, it was just a tiny smile, but then it grew bigger and bigger. Amelia Bedelia put her arm around Suzanne's shoulder, and she smiled too. Then they walked into school together. Alrighty, my friends, that's the end of our book. I have a few questions now since the end. If you would like to write these down on a piece of paper and send it to me on Dojo, you can. Otherwise, you can send me a video answering these questions. I'm going to put them in the description as well. The first question I have is, how did Amelia Bedelia and Suzanne's relationship change from the beginning of the story to the end of the story? How did they feel about each other at the beginning? And how is it different than how they felt about each other at the end, okay? Tell me at least 2 things that you think Amelia Bedelia learned throughout the story. So anything you think she could have learned throughout all her jobs and her mistakes and all her accidents that she's had throughout this story. And then the last one, tell me how you feel about the ending. Were you surprised that she won the bike contest after kind of messing everything up? Or did you think that was going to happen? Let me know the answers to those 3 questions, and I will see you tomorrow.